Holmes. Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl window is closed. Without further ado, the man who's been waiting for a moment like this the entire offseason, one of the top creators for content for the Dallas Cowboys. He is our friend. Mark Holmes joins us. And how you doing? And without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, the outlaw himself, Philly.500 joins us now. How you doing, bro?
Look at that, Mark! Look at that, baby!
Super Bowl window fucking slammed.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Okay, Mark. First and
Yes,
foremost,
brother. What you want, brother? Look,
okay.
I want you to know.
Give me your
What
overall
are you going to
take
do?
of A.J. Brown not being a Philadelphia Eagle. How much does that hurt and devastate?
Well, brother, I got to say that I can't believe a piece of ass destroyed a Super Bowl juggernaut that literally a threesome, or excuse me, a love triangle destroyed the Eagles. Are you serious? I want to say congratulations, Philadelphia. You have taken the drama title from the Dallas Cowboys. You are it. You are it.
Philly, you're
what an indictment on his own team. What an indictment. All week, this guy's making videos about the Eagles, and he doesn't realize that he's taking shots at his own quarterback. Why? Well, Kellen Moore, he can't win the playoffs. Dak can't win with him. How is Jalen Hurts going to do it? He does it. Then it's, the Dallas Cowboys, they can't win. Not with all this craziness going on. Not with all this drama going on. What did Jalen Hurts do during that drama? What did Jalen Hurts do while it was going on? He won. So once again, Mark indicts his quarterback because Jalen Hurts can do what Dak doesn't do, even in spite of any situation. So thank you, Mark, for indicting your quarterback and proving my point. That's why I'm wearing the ring. That's why we got the glasses, because I'm winning again, baby. I'm winning again.
Actually, can you take off the glasses so we can see your swollen eyes from you crying like a little bitch?
Nope. Yeah. Oh, poor Dak. Dak, we can't win without that draw. I'll take the glasses. I know you want to see my beautiful eyes.
There you go,
That's
Denzel.
right.
There you go.
Sick mother humper. You want to see these beautiful eyes. But let me tell you.
Philly, wait a minute. I want to get your
takeaway. Don't work,
away.
buddy.
Philly,
it don't work.
Philly, I want your takeaway now on the exit of A.J. Brown.
Oh, boy. That's let me say this, like, in all seriousness, if what went on, it's absolutely insane, dude. You know, and I actually tend to believe it because it's like the only thing that makes any sense. And then in my opinion, when you look at the behavior, I think the last few days of A.J. Brown in New England, it's just been bizarre. It's just been really weird. So, it's definitely,
Philly, I blame Nick.
It's crazy.
And I'll tell you why.
I think you got to somewhat.
I blame Nick because, hey, Mark, I blame Nick because if this is Mr. Locker Room and this is all the bullshit that goes on in his locker room, the thing they do is they move Reddick and move his ass, and then they turn around and all of a sudden now you got a situation like that. I also happen to think once they got Barkley in the building and they decided to win the way through Barkley and not through the passing, in my opinion, I think that wore him out a little bit. So, Mark, I would tell you this, man. This has got to be on Nick Sirianni. No, Philly, it's on Nick Sirianni.
Could be. Well, somebody's got a squeaking in the background there. I think, are you trying to call home or something there, Philly.500? What's going on?
I got a vacuum cleaner going on in the background, but other than that.
Oh, okay. Well, I would definitely hear it in my ear here. But here's what I'm going to say. One thing the Dallas Cowboys tried to do, what Brian Schottenheimer said, he was looking for the locker room to be different. We got rid of Micah Parsons. We ended up getting rid of Diggs. You got rid of all the guys that seemed to be locker room cancers. Apparently, I guess the Eagles have been working on that with Hassan Reddick and now A.J. Brown. The question is, can that locker room heal? That's pretty devastating. And having to answer these questions over and over and over again, and basically seeing A.J. Brown throwing this shit in your face about how happy he is to be out of there, it's kind of crazy.
Do you believe it, Philly? Do you believe all that drama behind the scenes?
Yeah, I do. I do actually. I think there's something to it. I mean, the whole thing has been so weird. Is there still a high pitched sound?
A little bit. You're good. Go ahead. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
it's your voice.
no, I mean, it's like, yeah, I definitely think there's something to it. I just do, because nothing else seemed to make any sense. So to me, it seems like, yeah, there's something to this whole thing with the chick and the Gamar and all that stuff. It definitely seems to be something to it.
Here's something that I'm going to say to you here too. Hey, Mark, that bullshit that A.J. Brown went up there to Philadelphia and went up to New England going, oh my God, I know this ain't heaven, but it's the closest thing I've ever seen. Hey, did you see also too, this guy, he studies game film. Did you see the arm on that quarterback, Drake May? And then I turn around and I get that same bullshit from Jordan Mailata going, oh my God, Einstein's in the building, a.k.a. Sean Mannion. I mean, you got so much bullshit going on right now between everything going on. And the Cowboys have had zero drama. And this is the first time I remember that you've had zero drama in your locker room. Right?
Without a doubt. What you're seeing here in Philadelphia that you're not used to, that's just a regular offseason for the Cowboys. Seriously. And, I got Eagle fans that are coming back at me and saying, oh, well, all the stuff that you had. Yeah, we did have a lot of stuff in the past, but it seems like they've gone through and they've cleaned it up and they shipped it all to Philadelphia. You asked a couple of months ago, are the Dallas Cowboys closing the gap with the Eagles? Okay, I didn't say we passed the Eagles, but you have to say we got a little bit closer, and the drama that everything else is going in there. And now Mekhi Lemon pulled a hamstring in practice. You got A.J. Brown gone. You can't tell me that your team is not in worse shape today than it was on Sunday.
Philly, do you think your offense is worse than it was pre-June 1 today?
I mean, we talked about this before. If you're going to lose A.J. Brown, a talent like him, you can't sit there on paper and say you're as talented right now today as you were. But that doesn't mean anything in terms of next year, because we don't know how they are going to be on offense. They could still end up being a better offensive unit than they were a year ago. Time will tell.
Do you think that Pickens or CeeDee Lamb has the year in Dallas this coming year? Who has a better season in your opinion, Pickens or Lamb?
Pickens.
Why
Pickens got more reason to, okay? Everybody's tried to make the whole thing up that he's going to, now sit out now if he signed the franchise tag. But all he has to do is be a solid citizen for a year, and the money is just going to be flowing. If he goes back-to-back really good seasons, bro, he's going to bust the bank. If he ends up being he's losing multiple millions of dollars.
Philly, do you believe that Mekhi Lemon is going to replace Devontae Smith's production when coming out of college? I don't think anybody thinks Mekhi Lemon is Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is I don't want to indict Devontae Smith and go, well, Mekhi Lemon's the same talent. I don't think you even believe that. You don't think he's the same talent, do you?
No, I think he could be a good player. I don't know that I consider him.
By the way, I do too. My question is, where are you getting these 80 catches in this 1,000 yard in making up for this? Where are you going to get that production? Who's making it up?
Well, I don't think one guy is going to make it up, Sills. You're going to have to make it up as a unit. Like, I think you got, in my opinion, actually, if you take A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and you look at the rest of the receivers, I actually think they're deeper, like 3 through 5, than they were a year ago. So those guys somebody's going to have to step up, but I don't think it's something that you just are going to replace with one guy. It has to be done by a team. But I tell you this, if they get better offensive coaching than they had last year, I think that's going to make up for a lot of it. I really do.
I'm really interested to see the year Dak has this season. I really am. What kind of year do you believe Dak Prescott's having in 26?
Hopefully the way you guys looked at it before, where Dak has a great season and gets injured and cuts his numbers down. I hope that's not the case. I'm hoping that we have a much more balanced team where our team actually gives them some easy takeaways, easy scores and stuff, and that hopefully he doesn't have to throw for 4,500. I'm hoping he's throwing for like 3,800 yards, and our running game is up there, and our defense is actually shutting people down. When you start getting into 4,500 or 5,000 yards, it's because you're either behind a whole hell of a lot or you have no running game, and that's not a winning formula for football.
Do you think you can finish top 15 in defense this year?
If the Cowboys make another move, it's possible, but we still have a lot of question marks that are here. Who's going to be the green dot? Linebacker. I still think that's a weakness. Will Rashawn Gary be good enough as far as our edge rusher, or will Donovan Ezee be good enough, or will the Cowboys actually try and make another move? We seem to keep making moves and calls for people, but we can't seem to close any deals. Allegedly, the Cowboys had called in about Myles Garrett, but of course they lost out on that one. They lost out on Max Crosby, of course, so that was no fault of their own, but Baltimore had him. We've heard that he talked to Josh Sweat, and that didn't go real well. So the problem is are they going to be able to get anybody who's really going to move the needle?
You know what, Philly? I didn't hate that they got a 1. I hated when they got the 1. I mean, 2 years from now and a 5th next year doesn't help your football team in two seasons. Doesn't help you now, and it doesn't help you next year. You get no recovery of a player. Look at what the Rams did. The Rams got a player in the trade, and look at what the Browns did. The Browns got verse and future. My question is listen, I get it's a 1, and I think that's great. A 1 and a 5, but in the 2028 draft. I mean, make that make sense for me, how you make your football team better when you've got so many people in the next 2 years that you might be replacing. Are you happy with what they got?
Better than what? Then what's the other alternative? With a third round, a second and a third in 2027? No, I'd rather have the first round pick, because the first round pick in 2028 is an asset that I can use in 2027 if I need to. That's how I look at it. So if I need to go get up in the first round, or I need to go come back into the first round, or I need to trade for something, I got that 2028 first round pick as an asset there. Not to mention, you don't know what's going to happen 2 years out. What if New England has a really bad year in 2 years? You never know. And I think until you know what you're picking, I don't see how you can make a judgment on it.
The only way, Mark, you tell me if you agree or disagree. The only way that I'm using that 2028 pick for 27 is if I'm changing the fucking quarterback.
Boom,
I'm not doing it for an edge rusher. I'm not doing it for a linebacker or a offensive tackle. I'm only doing that if it's a quarterback. So to sit there and say that I'm going to use the 28 pick in 27 for what? To go get an OT? I mean, or if you're going to trade for an established player.
Well, why not go out and get an offensive tackle or another corner?
You're going to move up in the draft to get an OT. If you guys think you're going to be as good as you are.
I don't know. I don't know.
If you think you're going to be as good as you are, you win the Super. Let's say the Eagles win the Super Bowl and you're the 32nd player, 32nd team in the draft order next year. You're telling me down there at 32, you're going to move up by trading an offense, a pick in 28 away to go get an OT?
I ain't saying necessarily in 2027. I'm saying it gives you leverage to do something like that if you want to do it. You don't know who's going to be available that they may want or they may need to fit. It doesn't necessarily have to be a quarterback, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in 2027. The point is that no matter what you look at it, how you look at it, that's a first round pick in down the road within the next 2 years. It's a first round pick. So to me, I don't necessarily look at it as much. Of course, yeah, 2027 first would have been nice because of what they're saying about this draft class, but 2028 first round pick, I think, is not as bad as you're making it out to seem. I think it's still a first round pick.
What I'm saying to you is that to sit there and say that, or anybody to say that, and you're not the only one, though, by the way, to sit there and say that, well, I'm going to take that 28 pick and I'm going to move up in the draft to go get what?
You might not have to. What if in 2 years, right? Because everything is, what if this bad thing happens and what if this bad thing happens? What if in 2 years that New England has a horrendous season and it becomes a top 5 pick? Then what?
No.
Then what?
So you can do that this year. Everyone's saying this year that the Patriots are going to have a down year. Okay, and then the following season they're going to get a lesser schedule, and they'll have a better year for the 28. Hey, listen, like I said, do you really believe Howie Roseman would take a 28 future first round pick to move up and get a positional player?
I don't know necessarily if you move up to get a positional player. Like, I don't know who we're talking. It depends who we're talking about. I've seen him go ahead and I've seen him take a first round pick and trade for an established player before. He could be willing to do that. He did that with Jason Peters. Yeah. Okay, so he's done that before. He did get the extra first round pick that ended up being Jalen Carter, and look how that worked out for us. So to me, I mean, it just really depends. We don't know how it's going to line up to sit there and make such a judgment. And just to assume that's the worst case scenario every time doesn't work for me.
Can I interject?
Sure.
Because I'm going to say Howie Roseman is a genius, okay? Howie Roseman won a Super Bowl. He ended up moving on from his coach. He ended up getting rid of a quarterback that he spent, 3 number ones to get? Got Jalen Hurts, won another one. Why don't we think that he is looking and saying, this team has run its course, and I'm looking to rebuild. My offensive line has got big problems. I got a running back who's pretty good but is aging. We're not sure about the quarterback. Why don't we get what we can get now and reload this thing for the new next coach?
What I would say to you, Mark, is if that thing falls apart, I'm going to take 2 1s in Hurts and send him to Cincinnati and get Burrow.
Boom. There you go.
That's what I'm freaking doing. I'm not going to sit there and trade a 2028 pick for an edge rusher.